Okay, so before I get started, I just want to say that today's my birthday, so please laugh at my jokes.
Happy birthday.
Thanks. Anyway, so I've just turned 17. And I feel like normally when people say that, they make some sort of joke about being the dancing queen, but I'm one of about 5 people in the world who cannot stand ABBA, so do with that what you will. But anyway, I can't believe that I'm going to be a senior next year. I always kind of thought when I was younger that at this point in my life I'd have things a little more figured out. You know, I'd have good grades, maybe be in a relationship, have a list of colleges to apply to. I have approximately 0 of those things, but I feel like my life is getting more and more consumed by making these massive decisions. It's like every day there's another layer that's coming in, another thing you have to do. And that's really scary, especially for someone who's dodged those decisions for a lot of her life. I tend to kind of hide in between, stay in the shadows, not really ever committing to one idea. Because the thing is, it is so much easier to give up a little bit of a lot of things than it is to completely get rid of one thing. And I know that sounds kind of confusing, but it's so much easier to be a ton of different things and pick what you are than it is to have other people define who you want to be. Especially if you feel like other people are pushing labels on you. Indian or American, straight or gay, athletic or nerdy, it's like all these labels are just getting shoved onto you constantly, especially in high school. And it just kind of sucks that things have to be so black and white, especially since I'm brown. And the thing is that these labels are all totally arbitrary. Like, I don't personally identify with any of those, so where does that leave you? And for that reason, I feel like sometimes like I'm wearing layers. Like I'm showing people parts of myself, but not all of it, because I don't know what they'll think if they see the real me. And that does sound like a line out of a cheesy romance movie, but it really is true that you feel like people are seeing parts of you. And I only ever try to show people the parts of me that I think they want to see. Because it's so much scarier to have someone reject you if you're showing them all of you than it is if you're only showing them a little bit of who you are. And so it's easier to hide in these in-betweens for me. Like that, I have a bunch of different friends in different friend groups, and for a long time, I had different personas I would put on in each group. And so I hated the idea of them mixing. Because how am I supposed to be 2 or 3 different people at the same time when all of them are expecting me to act like one specific person? It was really hard, but I told myself that it was better to have all these versions, that it was easier to fit in, and it was more important to be normal than it was to be me. And that is another cheesy line from a rom-com. But when you're trying to fit in, the thing is you start to forget who you are underneath all those layers. You forget which parts of you are really you and which parts are what other people think of you. And when that happens, it can be really scary. So after freshman year, I decided that I was going to stop. I was going to just show who I was all the time. That did not last very long, because I realized that everyone is hiding things. Everyone has millions of layers to who they are and different versions of who they want to be. So you can't just show everyone who you are all the time, because you're just going to get hurt. But what you can do is make sure that none of these versions of yourself are lies. You can make sure that when you're showing people who you are, you're showing them parts of you, and not parts of who you think they want you to be. You can make sure that when you're doing this, you're comfortable with every version of you. Because if you're not, you're going to end up being friends with people that you don't like and lying to people you love because you're scared they'll judge you for not acting like yourself. So you have to make sure that when you have these different versions of yourself, they're all you. It doesn't work if you're being different people at once. So it's okay to be in between, like I feel like I am. It's okay to be a lot of different things and have different labels for yourself. But what you have to do is make sure that when you're in the in-between, you fully embrace both sides of who you are. Not just hide in the shadows and